Hi there, it's Fran from psychicandenergywork.com.au, and this is part 2 of my video section for the monthly observations for March 2025. Part 2 always looks at the birth number for the month involved, May 2025. In numerology, there are 2 levels of number when we're looking at months. First of all, there's the numbers that present every time that month comes around. Then there's also the dynamics that present as a result of combining the month with the year. Those 2 levels, I call the first the generic numerology or the generic level. Then the second level I call the specific. Others might call them different things. I haven't researched them, so I'm sorry. But yeah, if I'm referring to generic versus specific, that's what I'm banging on about. So, part 2 looks at the birth numbers. The birth numbers tells us what we're here to learn about to the next degree in a way that then we can make a choice to channel, to stand by, to adopt, to exemplify as a spiritual, or perhaps not so, stance moving forward. As I say on the website, psychicandenergywork.com.au. This month, at birth number level, we see 2 5s. 5 is May every year because May is the 5th month in the Western calendar, right? So in 2025, May partners with the year, to present 2030, which also reduces to 5. Now, again, on the website, part 2, the birth number section of my observations, I talk about change, opinion leading, growth, newness, as all being aspects of 5. I also touch on the fact that, with a master number of 2030, we're getting the hint that space, spiritual connection, and therefore your relationship, your conscious choice to connect with divine energies so as to learn, so as to grow, will also affect these outcomes. Within that, though, is the fact, and this is what I haven't mentioned on the website, hence this video, is the fact that, 5 can be read as change coming towards us, change manifesting as a result of what we do or be or say, or what we pump out there, right? And yet, on a spiritual level, on an energetic level, 5 can also flag the need for change within. In other words, the need for self to realise a few things before, or so as to get out there and make the difference that it's here to. The zeros in 2030, together with 5s in themselves at birth number level this month, suggest that change is going to be calling us on perceptual level, on understanding level, on reasoning level, and therefore on a wisdom level. 5, in this sense, can manifest as a sense of being cornered by life, of not necessarily in an unpleasant way, although all numbers often present as things that we'd rather not be participating in or experiencing. Yeah. Why? Because on one level, life is the constant call for us to step into our spiritual selves yet again. And being part egoic, we can all resist that. We can all resent change when it comes calling, especially when it's calling as a feeling or as a memory or as an issue that just keeps popping back up for us to look at all over again. Egoic self can find those moments very inconvenient, not only because they can lead it to places it may not necessarily want to look at, but also because, of course, it can stir up stuff that we don't necessarily want to get into. They're not necessarily pleasant things. But additionally, change can often come, especially in 5 moments, and even more so when one of those 5s is a 2030. Change can come in a way that interrupts our day, that is almost life saying, well, you may have thought you were going to do this today. You may have had this game plan on for this week, but you know what? I'm actually going to present in a way that I stop you from just drifting into that or gunning into that in a way that you feel as if you're in control of things. 5 can be curveball. 5 can do a person's head in terms of, you know what did I do to deserve that? Or why doesn't that issue just leave me alone? I thought I dealt with it, or maybe even I didn't think I dealt with it, but really I don't want to look at it. So 5 on those levels too, it is stretch. Within that, therefore, 5 is the need to be patient with ourselves, the need to be tolerant of the fact that being human beings, we are partly egoic, as well as partly divine or spiritual. And what that means is that from time to time, especially in a moment that has 2 5s as the birth numbers, it is that need to be patient with self, the egoic self in us as well as others, and its need to first blow steam off, to first want to run away, to first defend itself or even attack in a way that is about trying to deflect the need, deflect the responsibility that we each have as contributors to actually put the right stuff in to get the right stuff out. So 5 is in that level, it is patience, it is stamina. It is the ability to know or remember that, again, we are all partly egoic, and therefore be patient with self. Accept the grumbling that you might have, the complaining, the whinging, you with me? Or even the running away from. Yeah, as in the urges to do these things. Because in part, they are human. We're not here to be perfect, even though that's a wonderful ideal. We're here to be human, and it's only when we accept that we can really move past our blockages or our stucknesses or even our, shall we say, avoidances, to actually get on and discover where we need to change, how we can change, but also the change that we're here to make, as in breed. 5 and 0 is actually a place that wants to help us learn how to use our breath all over again. Our breath as a tension releaser, our breath as an allower of movement, our breath as a creator of space that informs us. Because frankly, to instigate change, to promote change that is balanced, that is fair, that is right, first of all, we have to give ourselves the chance to actually sense what is right in this moment. In other words, we need to give ourselves the space to verify where we're at. We need to be willing to let go into the nothing, into the I don't know, to get confirmation that I don't know, that piece of wisdom or insight or opinion is actually valid. It is actually nurturing of the whole picture of all reality. And it's not somehow skewed in whatever way it is, in a way that could lead to a less than 100% spiritual outcome. So this May is here to promote these dynamics. Don't be surprised, therefore, if it asks you to wait a bit longer, if it asks you to play the end game rather than just stick with the urge to get things done. 5 and 0 work together beautifully. They are always moments where life knows we can get to what we know is possible. And yet, self doesn't. On one level or another, self doesn't. Even if self can go, you know what, I can feel it in my bones, I can envisage it, I know it's possible. 5 is a place that helps us discover where we're holding that reality away from us, where we're holding ourselves away from embracing that reality as a fact rather than a hope, as an actuality that can present rather than as a doubt. And so 5 on this level too is that moment of helping self beyond, I'm not quite sure whether that is possible, even if it's only 1% of me that's stating that. A 5 moment can come and highlight those angles so that we step into greater knowing, greater self-awareness, greater sensing of the fact that what we envisage is real as a potential, and that all we have to do is live in that dynamic, live in that energy, and step with it, represent it, nurture it as best we can so as to help it be fulfilled. So as exercises on this level, on one level, probably the most important at this point is to know that life always has your back. Life only brings what it does to help us to a better place. That sounds so cliche, doesn't it? And yet it's real. Life only presents challenge because on one part, it's slowing the individual down to see something else. And so always, especially this May, use breath, use time out. If nothing manifests in a way that, shall we say, thirst makes you feel tense, fearful, anxious, know that that nothing is simply the universe going, you know what, stop for a minute, stop, breathe, let go of your ambitions or your goals or your needs or your truths, maybe all of the above, not because you're throwing them away, not because you're discrediting them, but because potentially life is saying, you know what, just stop for a minute. Let me show you even more that you know right now, so as to then enhance what you know, so as to then add even more into your ability to be the change agent, to be the opinion leader, to be the driver, the influencer, the shaper, the co-creator, the manifester that you already are. All the very best to you again for this month. Feel free to travel through now to part 3 of my video monthly observations for May 2025. There I will be talking about how these 5s and 5 dynamics invitations might be triggered for or around you in all the ways they could be. Take good care, travel well, let me know how this comes across, and please get in touch if I can help in any way.